An innovative program. A grassroots movement. People living alone, finding new friends in a time of need. Finding someone to show the way.
Look how she came out of it. Look what she can do for me.
Hugh Downs reports the power of two when 2020 continues.
In a time of stress or personal crisis, how or where do you find comfort? It can be as close as turning to the person next to you. But what about the millions of older Americans who live solitary lives? To whom do they turn? Well, tonight Hugh has a report that offers them a solution.
It sure does. It's a simple approach, but extremely effective. Young and old alike need people to lean on and role models who can show the way through difficult times. That's what our story is about. We're going to meet some remarkable, special people who, to help others, open their hearts. They let our cameras follow them through some of the most painful times of their lives. Being old often means confronting loss. Loss of health, loss of a spouse, loss of a feeling of purpose. Too many old people are left to face their losses alone. And that contributes to the most troubling problems older people suffer. Isolation, loneliness, and depression.
Several people took it last time and passed it. Everything worked out really well. I don't want to do everything I want to do.
Here in Southern California, a group of elders is tackling these problems in an innovative way. In a world of high-priced psychiatrists and therapists, these people have found their comfort in common experience. In weekly one-hour sessions, they meet one-on-one with other people their own age, counseling them through the emotional difficulties that come with growing older.
There is an enormous need. Most older people are never able to avail themselves of mental health services from professionals. This, to me, is the essence of what it's all about.
At age 74, Evelyn Freeman guides the Senior Peer Counseling Program at Santa Monica's Senior Health and Peer Counseling Center. She says the key to senior peer counseling is that two people of similar ages and backgrounds come together on an equal level.
So they meet equally, unlike professional therapy, where there is a hierarchical situation, where one person is above and the other is below.
The greatest thing we have to deal with is loss.
Peer counselor Ethel Schatz has faced her own losses. After being widowed once, she lost her second husband, who suffered from Alzheimer's, after 10 years of caring for him. But you can, through peer counseling, give people some weapons to deal with those losses.
What we learn to do at our center is to change our perception of these circumstances, of how we look at them, of how we accept them, of how we deal with them.
Oh, God, Heather, I'm glad to see you. I couldn't have made it through this week if I didn't know that I was going to see you.
Come on, darling.
You're the only person who can listen and understand what I'm going through.
Well, because I went through it too.
And you're the only person who understands.
Peer counseling is dealing with clients who have lived through similar life experiences as yourself. For example, my late husband had Alzheimer's.
I understand.
And I have a client now whose husband has Alzheimer's.
Ethel's client, Gertrude Lorber, who she has been seeing weekly for 4 months, recently made the painful decision that she could no longer care for her husband at home and put him into a nursing home.
But the worst thing of all is Monday he slit his wrist.
He slit
his wrist? Yes.
Darling.
He felt that I had deserted him. He didn't understand. I was there every day. I cleaned him from one end to the other. I did everything I possibly could. And he doesn't want to live. He just doesn't want to live.
How are you feeling? Most clients have never let out their feelings
What in the hell am I living?
A pain,
I don't mean to curse.
a fear,
What am I living for? I can't
until
see him suffer like
they
that.
find themselves in this situation with a counselor whom they trust implicitly.
Then I thought to myself, look what Ethel went through. Look how she came out of it. Look what she can do for me. And I gotta be as strong as Ethel is.
Yes.
One reason senior peer counseling works so well is because a peer counselor can be a role model, someone who has confronted seemingly unbearable losses and come through them stronger than before.
You know, the only way you can dissipate your anger and your feelings of guilt are by taking care of yourself. It's you who make yourself feel better. It's the relationship between the client and the counselor that heals. Something magical happens in the counseling room, a bonding that takes place. And this works in remarkable ways.
If your client can get to the point of seeing...
The more than 70 volunteer counselors at the center come from all walks of life. They're retired school teachers, doctors, homemakers, businessmen.
That a possible breakthrough that would work.
After a rigorous selection process, they go through an intensive 12-week training by mental health professionals. And they continue to hone their skills at day-long workshops like this one, where they learn to better help their clients.
That they are the ones that are not responsive.
There's no doubt that senior peer counseling is effective for the client, but it does much for the counselor as well. Counselors report an immense sense of purpose in helping another person to grow.
And I have found out that contrary to what I thought, when I reached the age of 75, and I might have expected that my world would have become smaller, just the opposite has happened to me.
Look just like a fishtail. See, that's a Nepalese fishtail palm.
Peer counselor David Tolan is 81 years old. He had been a hard-driving traveling salesman when, at the urging of his wife, he retired nearly 20 years ago. He volunteered to be a peer counselor when he found that his love of cooking and nurturing plants didn't bring him close enough to people.
You went through that rigorous training that's necessary to become a senior peer counselor, and what did that do for you?
I come in a relationship where I'm the counselor, there is a client, and he tells me things about himself, and he's telling me things that I'm experiencing about me. I'm seeing negative things about me, but I'm hearing them out loud from him.
Hearing his clients reveal things about themselves that he himself had never acknowledged showed David that he too needed to look for some help.
Now, what do I do with myself? Oh, I'm a golfer.
So 4 years ago, he began attending a support group of men who meet once a week at the center. Finally, he admitted to a personal problem that had plagued him for years.
What if he was 77 years of age and had an alcohol problem that he refused to admit for 25 or 35 years, and suddenly at the age of 77 faced up to it like I did and said, "You're a drunk and it's time you do something about it." And at this moment in my life, be able to say that I'm 3.5 years dry and feel that I've made a major victory in an area that I was very tremendous disappointment in myself.
That's terrific.
That group has been meeting now for about 4 years. And when the trust took place, they were able to do something that men sometimes very rarely do, that is open up and talk about their personal matters, their personal lives.
At your age, you're a handsome